It's Kendra here of KendraKWoods.com. If you're new to me, I am a mindset and business coach to female entrepreneurs who are ready to create the business and life that they dream of, right? So I want to talk to you today though about your resistance, I want to give you something to think about. And I titled this, You're Not Resisting the Task, but the Outcome. Because I get that we all kind of get in our moments where we're resisting doing the things that we know we need to do in our business, right? I talked the other day about how to, get out of a funk. Hello, one person, say hi once you're here, please. And I talked about getting out of a funk and doing what it is that you need to do for yourself to get yourself out of that business funk, right? And this kind of goes along with that, because when you're in resistance, when you're, not doing the things that you need to do, when you're procrastinating, when you are making excuses, when you are doing everything but that thing that you need to do, it's not simply about you saying no to the task or to the activity or to the thing that you need to do in your business. You're saying no to the outcome that activity or that task. Right? So I had forgotten this, but I used to have a list of activities that I would do throughout my day that were sales activities, right? Whether it was, hopping on a live stream and selling one of my programs, or one-on-one coaching, or if it was writing a blog and putting, a PS at the bottom that would let you know what my programs were, or sending out an email to my email list. I used to have a list where I would make sure that I did all those things, right? And today I was reminded of that because I was doing my mindset work. I was writing in my journal and I was just thinking about, what I wanted to do for the day, and kind of kicking my own self in the butt saying, okay, you've got to get moving on some things, right? And I was reminded of, how I used to be really diligent with checking off that list of all the things that I do in my business to create sales, right? And it got me back thinking. I was like, am I resisting doing these actions, right? Am I resisting, selling more or talking about more of what I have to offer? Am I resisting that? And so I kind of sat with that for a minute and I thought about it, and, I recognized I wasn't resisting it. But what also came to me is that if you are at a place where you've just launched your business, and you're kind of like, well, you're pushing back on the idea of putting yourself out there and letting people know what it is that you have to offer, you're resisting that action, but you're also at the same time resisting the income that could be created in your business, right? And, I get that with resistance, there's two ways to deal with that. You can be really, really hard on yourself and beat yourself up and feel like, you should be doing more, you're not doing enough, or you could look at it as an opportunity to get curious around why it is that you're resisting the very thing that you say you want. And I see this all the time, and we all do this. I mean, I am not saying that I am immune to this, because I do the same thing, but it's getting honest with yourself and it's getting real with yourself and looking at your behaviors and what you're doing and figuring out, okay, does this align to what I say I want? Does it align to what I say that I want? If it doesn't, then there's some work that needs to be done. If it doesn't, then there's some behaviors you need to look at. There's some beliefs that you need to look at. And when you look at it in the big scheme of things, you are literally pushing back on the very thing that you said that you even wanted in the first place. Right? So why do we do that? Why do we do that? And it comes down to what you're saying to yourself. It comes down to what you're choosing to think. It comes down to what you're choosing to believe. It comes down to you responding based upon your emotions, right? Not really just reacting to them instead of responding to your emotions, right? It comes down to maybe not fully believing that you can have what it is that you say that you want. And it also comes down to getting really honest with, do you really want the thing that you say that you want, right? So if you're, wanting to grow your business, if you're wanting to get your first few clients, if you're wanting to, write your first ebook or your first book or whatever, and you're not doing the actions that will get you to the final result, then you've got to ask yourself, is this really what I want? Do I really want this? Or do I just simply want it because I see everybody else having it? And one thing that, when it comes to business, and one thing that I deeply believe in is building a business that is aligned with who you are, with what you value, with your purpose, right? So just because somebody else has a business that is succeeding and they're doing well, and you look at that and you think, well, that's what I should be doing, and then you try to take that on, and then you're not doing the things to actually get the same outcome, you've got to question your motives. You got to question, do I really want this? You've got to get honest with yourself and say, am I willing to do what it takes to actually get to this outcome? Am I willing to do that? And if you're not willing to do it, then it goes back to the planning stage, and you need to figure out what it is that you do want, what it is you are willing to work towards, what it is you are willing to, continue to move forward in, and do that thing. Right? So every time, resistance comes up, every time you see yourself pushing back or procrastinating or just telling yourself that you're confused about the process, anytime you find yourself doing that, you've got to step back and tune into what that is trying to tell you. Because anytime we have a feeling that is negative or doesn't feel good or puts us in a place of questioning ourselves or anything of that nature, anytime we have that, then that is our higher self trying to get our attention to say, hey, wake up. You need to pay attention to this. You need to tap into this. You need to look at this. You need to figure out what this is trying to tell you, right? And when we don't do that, that is where you see yourself repeating patterns over and over and over again, right? And I do believe that we get to learn the same lessons over and over and over again until we actually learn from them and move forward. Okay, so a couple of things that I want you to take with you from this live stream is, number one, know that whenever you find yourself in resistance, when you find yourself resisting the very thing that you say you wanted to do today or tomorrow or next week, know that you're also resisting the outcome that you said that you want. Okay? The second thing that I want you to take away from this is, when that resistance comes up, don't freak out. Don't start beating yourself up because you're not, taking the action or doing the steps, or you're not showing up like you want to. Don't beat yourself up. Instead, get curious about what it is that's going on and why that's going on, and get honest with yourself around your motivation behind the thing that you say you want. Okay? And then if you look at that and you recognize that, okay, I'm only doing this because I feel like this is what you're supposed to do, because I see other people in the industry doing this, because, so-and-so's doing it in their business, so I think it'll work in mine. If you find yourself doing that, then you've got to recalibrate, right? You've got to step back a little bit and really get aligned, get your actions and your motivations aligned with your true purpose and your true value. Okay? So resistance is not a bad thing. That's the fourth thing that I would say to you is, it's not a bad thing. Get curious about it. Get curious about why you are showing up the way you're showing up. Get curious around the thoughts that may pop in your mind, right? Where did that come from? I wonder what that's about. What do I need to learn from that, right? Because that's how you move through it. That's how you move through it. A lot of the times what our natural response is we want to, shut down and play small and cower and, turn within and kind of isolate, when what you're really being given is an opportunity to get curious and to expand into the resistance, into the opportunity to get you to the other side, right? The other thing that I wanted to talk about today is this idea of thinking there's a shortcut. I wrote about this in a blog. I don't know if it's the one I posted today or the one I wrote for next week. I can't remember. But I was talking about the fact that there are no shortcuts, right? I think a lot of times when you're first starting your business or you're new in business, you're looking for that thing that is going to give you the answer to what you're craving, right? Like you just want someone to give it to you, and give me the thing that I need to do, and boom, this is what's going to actually create my result, right? And the thing that I need you to understand is that there are no shortcuts. And I can say this from a place of knowing, because I've been there, right? I've been there. I've invested in so many, programs, thinking that, oh, okay, if I just do this, then I'll get this. If I just do this, I'll get this. And completely kind of miss the whole big picture, right? And completely miss the fact that, okay, yeah, that program, it can get you that, right? But you've got to put in the everyday work and the everyday processes, right? You've got to be consistent. You've got to show up. You've got to recognize your resistance when it comes up, and treat yourself with compassion and get curious about it and move through it. You can't stop, right? So there are no shortcuts. Like, everybody has to go through, I really believe that everybody has to go through the process when it comes to, launching your business, building your business, a framework of it, growing it, hitting certain income levels. Like, you've got to go through the process. There are no like fast and sure shortcuts to take you from launch to like, $25,000 months, right? So has that happened? I'm sure there's been, a person out there that has created that, but that's not the that's like the exception, right? And so what I want you to do is not get stuck on the fact that, oh my gosh, I haven't made it yet. Oh my gosh, I keep resisting this, and why isn't it happening? And getting you focused on where you are now, getting you in tune with where you are now, and making sure that the actions and the steps that you're taking daily are aligned with where it is you want to take your business, aligned with what you want your business to be about, right? So just remember that, and, be compassionate with yourself. Give yourself some space if you need to. There are some times when, like, this month is one of those months where I came into the month of April knowing deep inside of me that I needed to kind of just, step back a little bit, stop, putting the weight of the world on my shoulders and thinking that I had to do every little thing, right? And for me to really get clear on what is it that Kendra needs to do in her business, for her tribe, for her community, that's going to feel good for me, right? And not paying attention to everything else that's going on and thinking that I have to do every little thing, because that's not the case. And so that's where you'll find where you hit that wall, where you hit that resistance, and you're just not doing the thing that you need to do. And it's because you're typically trying to do something that's not aligned with what you should be doing, right? Hey, Tafina, how are you? So it's not that you're resisting that little task or that little activity. You're actually resisting the outcome of what you desire, right? So if you're not doing the daily activities to sell your services or your product or your programs, if you're not doing that, then you're not just resisting that action, you're actually resisting the income goal that you set for yourself. You're resisting the desire for growth in your business that you set for yourself, right? Actually resisting that thing, right? So what I want you to do, and I'll walk through these again, is number one, when you find yourself in a state of resistance, in a state of not doing the thing you need to do, number one, be compassionate and get curious. Don't push back on it. A lot of the times we fight our own resistance, right? We see it there in our current reality, and we're like, I don't want to be here. I want to be moving forward. Why is this not working? We get so, in the minutia of it that we forget to step back and get curious about it, right? And I get it, because the industry, social media is so freaking noisy. Everyone's doing something. But what I've, come to learn too is every coach that I've worked with, or everything that I've learned to kind of filter through it and say, okay, does this feel good for me? Does this feel aligned with what it is that I'm trying to create in my business? And if it does, then great, I'm going to move forward with it. If it doesn't, then I've got to discard it. Okay. And so that doesn't mean that I'm not getting value from what I'm learning from different coaches or programs or whatever. It's just that I get to choose what works for me and what's going to work in my business. So let me get back to my steps here. So, recognizing your resistance, being compassionate with it, getting curious about it, understanding too that when you are in a state of resistance, it typically, you're not aligned with your truest self, right? So getting curious about, what is it that I'm not doing or that I am doing? that's not aligned with where I need to go, right? With where I need to go, right? And then the third thing is, if you do find that what you're doing is not aligned with your true purpose, your true vision, with where you want to go, then it's time to recalibrate. It's time to step back a little bit and say, okay, what is important to me? What do I want to provide for my community, for my tribe, for my business that feels good for me, right? Yes, noisy indeed. I need to be a creator versus a consumer. Exactly. Yes. Yes. I wrote about that today in my blog. I haven't posted it yet, but this thought occurred to me a couple of weeks ago. I was in my journal writing, and I was like, you know what? I found myself, because we all can kind of find ourselves drifting back to that place of where we're constantly just like consuming and looking. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, this does not feel good. I feel like I'm all over the place. I'm, looking at what this person's doing, that person's doing. And I stepped back and I made the decision that every action that I take is going to be an action of quality, right? Not an action of quantity or consuming, right? So if the action that I'm taking, if I'm on social media and I'm scrolling through, I'm asking myself, okay, Kendra, is this something that's going to provide quality for you? Are you looking for something specific? Are you looking to listen to one of your coach's live streams or somebody that you're following? Are you looking for that? Or are you just kind of just consuming what's coming through? And so I've gotten to this habit of looking at all of my actions as a quality versus quantity, right? Is it quality? Is it providing me something that's going to make me feel good and that's going to move me forward and that's going to help me grow? Or is it just simply me sitting over here consuming because I am not addressing something else, right? So giving myself permission to step back when I feel resistance is key. Yes, Tafina, absolutely. I said earlier before you hopped on that this is how April has been for me. I came into the month of April knowing deep within that I needed to step back a little bit, that I needed to, realign myself and just, give myself space to see what it is that I'm creating, that I want to create, and what I want to do moving forward, right? And a part of me wanted to resist it because there was that part of me that's like, no, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. You constantly have to be go, go, go. But I listened to the wisdom within and said, no, I'm feeling that I need to just kind of step back and start literally looking at each day in itself and saying, what do I need to do in this day that's going to move me forward, right? And so, and it feels good, right? It feels better. I feel like that I'm taking action based upon what I am supposed to be doing versus, taking action based on what I feel like I should be doing or what, the world says that I need to do. So definitely taking a step back is key. And it's okay. And it's okay. We've got to get out of the habit of beating ourselves up because a lot of us are overachievers. We want the result, right? We are focused on the outcome. We are, wired for success. And so when you are that person, you constantly feel like, okay, I need to go. And then when you're not doing it, you tend to kind of beat yourself up. Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not doing this? Oh my gosh, I'm not succeeding. Oh my gosh, I'm not doing this. And when you can step back and look, you can realize that, okay, wait a minute, I'm doing some things here, right? We tend to forget about all the other areas of our life where we're also showing up, all the areas, that we are, and all the other areas where we are showing up and doing the things that we need to do. Yes, Tafina, and doing just one thing is okay, right? Right. Doing just one thing is okay. Oh my gosh. Girl, it took me a minute to get to that place where I was like, Kendra, it's okay to do one thing. It's all right to do one thing. It's good. And it's about what works for you, right? Like there's people out there that could, do 10 different things. But here's what I've also learned is I was trying to compare my business to the business models of people who have been in business for 5 years, 10 years, 12 years, right? And what I've realized is that they have processed, but after being in business for 5 years, 10 years, 12 years, you've got certain processes in place that are working for you, right? So that frees up your time to be able to do all of this other stuff over here and multitask and focus on more than one thing. And so I had to look and say, wait a minute, Kendra, you're still you're still in that stage where you're growing, where you're building, where you're up leveling in your business. And so it's okay to buckle down and focus on that one thing and get it together and put it out there versus, thinking that you have to do all these other things, right? Yeah, and I'm not where I thought I should be by now. Yes, we have so many hats and roles that we play into in our day, and we've got to give ourselves permission to be okay with where we are. And when I did a gratitude challenge like it has been about a month or so ago now, and the whole premise that's around that was to focus on gratitude, but to focus on where we are right now and being okay with it. Because if we're not okay with where we are right now, then we're not going to be able to get to the other side, because we're going to be constantly fighting our now reality. And we can't fight our now reality and think that we're going to get to the next level, right? You've got to, we've got to step back and look where we are here, master where we are here,
worked out the
and
kinks.
then move forward. And again, that goes back to, a lot of us being overachievers. We're like, boom, we should have this. I don't understand what's taking so long. I should already have this figured out, right? And while there's a part of that that's good, because we're going to keep moving forward, we're going to, be persistent, we're going to keep doing the darn thing. But at the same time, we can wear ourselves down and break ourselves down by thinking that we should be someplace that we're just, that is not where we need to be at the moment. And so it's getting hold of the now. It is getting hold of, where we are now and being okay with that, right? Being okay with that. Yes, stop finding the now. Exactly. So, and knowing that it's okay. And so what I do now is, if I ever find myself looking like, oh my gosh, this person has all the systems in place, what I tend to do is I look at the things that I have my hands on right now, and I go ahead and tell myself, I'm like, Kendra, it's all good. Keep doing what you're doing, because you know what? A year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, this will be somebody else's job that you'll be able to delegate in your business, right? And so so my mindset is, let me master the things that I need to master now in my business, so that when I delegate it to a staff member or an employee on down the road, I know what's going on, right? I know if I need to step in. I know how it needs to look and where it needs to go, because I've done it, right? It's my frame of mind, and it's refocusing your mind. It's reframing. Reframing is so important. It's like just reframing that thought, reframing that mindset of where you are right now, and looking at it as how can I look at this in a way that's going to benefit me in the future, right? Look at a way that's going to benefit me in the future. So tell me how to be okay with my now. Yes, is what Davina says. Here's what it comes down to as well, is it's getting to a place of loving and accepting ourselves, right? Loving and accepting ourselves, and being okay with the fact that we show up to the table with what we have, right? Being okay with the fact that it's okay that we show up at the table with what we have, and that is what makes us unique. That's what makes us, the unique divine creators that we are, is that we have our stuff that we come to the table with. And the faster we can accept that and know that it's okay, and know that the world's not going to fall apart because of this one thing, the quicker we can move forward. The quicker we can move forward. Because otherwise, we stay in, somebody gave me a cry face. Who's crying on my live stream? Dave Boogie, probably a troll. But anyway, so the quicker we can get into a place of acceptance of that, the quicker we can move forward. And that is my reframe. That is my reframe. So when I get in that space where I feel like I'm beating myself up, or Kendra, I can't believe you didn't do this today, or you didn't stick to your routine today, or whatever, I step back and I say, wait a minute. I need to just accept this and love this about myself, right? Stepping back into the now and saying, it's okay. I'm safe. The world is not going to fall apart. My business is not going to fall apart because I, didn't do this one thing or because I did do this one thing. It's okay. And when I can get to that place, right, then what happens? I feel better. You're going to feel better. And your mind is going to start taking you to, okay, here's what you need to do next. And so here's something that's interesting. When we're in that place of resistance, when we're in that place of being frustrated and stressed out and I don't like how things look right now, our mind is so focused on keeping us safe in the moment, because we're literally triggering to our brain that we're in trouble, right? So our brain is going into that mode of, we got to keep her safe. We got to make sure she's okay, right? And so our mind is not even able to help us come up with new ideas or new ways of thinking or new ways of being, because it's so focused on keeping us safe in this, crisis that we've created for ourselves. So we've got to relax, right? I made a post yesterday about when we can learn to relax and release and allow the process to be what it is, that is when we open ourselves up to receiving what we need. So think about it. You're not in the mode of receiving anything if you're stressed out, if you're worried about something, if you're beating yourself up, if you feel like you're not good enough, if you feel like somebody else is doing something better and you're constantly just all over the place. You're not in a place to receive anything, right? So God, creator, source, universe, whatever you believe in, could be sending you opportunities, could be sending you the right people, and you're not seeing them because you're so caught up over here and, being all up in your head and in yourself, right? I get it. Done that. But when you choose to, ease into it and relax into it and let it be what it is, then you're sending the message that I'm willing to see things differently. You're sending the message that you're willing to see things differently, that you're willing to be open to new things, new opportunities. And I actually say to myself, when I find myself, getting a little tense up about something, I'll say, God, all right, I'm willing to see things differently. I'm open to seeing things differently. I'm open to receiving the opportunities, the people, the things that you have in store for me that's going to help me move forward. I'm open to receiving it. Okay? So, absolutely. Let's see. So, Danetta says truth. Yes. Stefina says being happy for the person that looks like they are constantly winning is sometimes the hardest thing to do. Right. Because our nature can be that of competitiveness, because we're like, I want that, right? And here's where that comes from. Let me just talk about this for a second. When we are focused on what we don't have, we are constantly going to be producing the vibration, the feeling, the emotion of not having that thing, which is going to in turn present more things into our reality that we don't have. Right? So it's just like a continuous, cycle. Oh my gosh, I don't have enough clients, or I don't have, I'm not meeting my income goals. Oh, I don't have this. And what we're doing is we're then focused on what we don't have, which then creates those experiences into our life of the things that we say we want, right? And so, and this was a lesson I had to learn, because I won't repeat some of the things that I have said in the past. But there have been things where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like how come this is working for this person? How come it's working for this person? It's not working for me. But because of how the world that we live in works, our mind doesn't work in a sense of logic, right? It doesn't know that what we're really saying is, I really desire that. All it knows is that we're upset because we don't have something, and that we're talking about lack, and we're talking about, being in scarcity. So it says, oh, that's what she wants, so we need to show her more of that, right? But the moment that we can look at whatever's going on in the world, or whatever, if someone else is winning or whatnot, the moment we can look at that and literally send them love and say, yes, I'm so excited for you, we are literally cheering ourselves on. So I will, if I'm scrolling through my newsfeed and I see like somebody saying, oh my gosh, I just had like my first $25,000 month. Like my conditioned response is to be, really? Like, dang it. How come that happened for her? It didn't happen for me. But what I've learned is just through being more aware of what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling, I'll immediately go, oh my God, that's so exciting. Oh my goodness. And I'm like saying, hey, congratulations. And I'm sending them hearts because I know my reframe is that, ooh, if that is happening for that person, then oh my gosh, it's about to happen to me, right? Like it is around the corner, it's coming. I am getting excited. And it's a conscious effort. Totally get it. It is a conscious effort to do this because, you know, we're conditioned and trained by the ways of the world, right? So I get it. But when we become aware of our thoughts and our emotions, when we become aware of that, then we can step in and say, oop, I need to shift that. Oop, I need to change that, right? That's why awareness is key. That's one of the first things that I do when I work with my clients is we're getting clear on your intentions, on what you want, and getting you to become aware of some of the things you're thinking and saying. Because until you're aware of the things you're thinking, saying, and feeling, well, then you're not even going to know that you're doing it, right? Dafina, she says, I'm so happy you're going live because I've been scared to do so, but you are providing a great example. Girl, you should have told me that because now I'm going to be messaging you like, did you go live? Did you go live? But yes, it's, you know, the thing you've got to, and you've heard this before. I know you have. I know you've heard this before, feeling the fear and doing it anyways. And one of the things that I say to myself too is, one of the things that I also say to myself too is, okay, Kendra, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you, like, I want to do a live event, right? Like I want to do a live event here where I live. And just the other day, I found the space, right? Like literally just boom, let it in my lap. You can do it here. It's not going to cost you anything. Boom. I was like, oh my goodness. So now this is like becoming real, right? And so what I'm constantly telling myself is, okay, what's the worst that can happen, Kendra? Seriously, are you going to do this live event and like die? No. Yeah, you're going to be a little nervous. Yeah, you're going to be like, you know, worried about how you're sounding or if it's going to work out. Those things are normal. But it's like, if we didn't feel those things, then we wouldn't be doing anything. We would just be stagnant. We would just be standing still, right? So hop on a live stream, Dafina, do it for like a couple of minutes and get off, right? Know what you want to talk about and get off. And a lot of times too, I'll just pretend like I'm talking to myself, right? Pretend like you're talking to yourself and getting that. And the other thing that I will do too is also looking at, okay, how would I be talking if I were talking to one of my girlfriends right now, right? I'm scared I'm going to keep rambling. You know what? So what if you do? So what? If you ramble, then just ramble. I have repeated myself so many times on this live stream, but it's okay, right? It is okay if you ramble. Because the thing is, we are not, our job, your job, Dafina, is to get your message out there to your people. Your job is not to judge the message, critique the message, and try to make it over. No, your job is to say what's on your heart because there are people that need to hear what you have to say. And here's the other thing. If you find yourself rambling or repeating yourself, that's good. That's good because we learn by repetition, right? We learn by hearing things over and over and over again. How many times has one person said something to you and then you hear somebody else say it in a different way maybe, and it totally clicks. You're like, oh my goodness, I totally get what they're saying now, right? How many times has that happened? It's happened before. It's happened to me, right? My husband has said things to me before. He's actually has given me like some business advice. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And I'm like, no, I'm kind of just like putting it off. And then I hear this woman that I follow online talk about, you know, looking at, you know, the structure of your business and the things you need to be focused on when you're in business and, you know, payroll and all this stuff. And she's talking and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so right. And it was literally the same things that my husband had said to me, but because I heard it different when it came from her, right? But it was the same thing. So if you're rambling, it's okay. If you feel like you're rambling, then you can simply too say, all right, that's all I got. Let me know if you have questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll come back to it. But these blocks that we put up for ourselves are just superficial. They're just superficial. It's just your mind trying to protect you. It's just your mind trying to get you to think that, you can't do the thing that you're being called to do. You can do it, right? Like, you absolutely can. And have you heard of, I can't think of her name, but she has a book called The 5-Second Rule. What is her name? Because I love her story. Let me see if I can pull it up. The 5-Second Rule. There it is. Because part of her story, by Mel Robbins, that's her name, Mel Robbins. Yes, fear, exactly. Her name is Mel Robbins, and she has this book called The 5-Second Rule. And part of her, she shares her story or whatever, but one of the ways that she got herself to kind of get out of her head was when she knew it was time for her to do something, she counted backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom, got into action. Because here's what that does. When you are in your head and you're like, all right, I want to do this live stream, or okay, I want to apply to this job, or okay, I want to, start selling my product or course or whatever. You're in your head. The moment that you start counting backwards and saying, okay, I'm going to do the live stream, and your mind is going crazy, but you start counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you just go. You have literally, you've overrode your mind in a sense, right? Because your mind is trying to get you to stand still. But as soon as you start counting down, you're taking yourself out of that space of fear and out of that space of what's going to happen and out of that space of, I don't know if I can do this, and into literally the moment, the second. And when you get to 1, you do it. All right. So there's plenty of times where I'll do a live stream where I'm just like, I don't really know exactly what I want to say. I have this concept and this idea, but I don't know what I want to say. And I'll just press start even before I'm ready. Right. So it's a principle too of doing something before you're ready. Do it before you're ready, because you're not even going to know how you're going to be in that situation until you actually put yourself in the situation. Right. And it'll be exhilarating. I want to share with you that I have opened up 5 spaces to work with me one-on-one. All right. And one of those spaces is going to be gone tomorrow. So what it is, it's one-on-one private sessions with me. Yeah, do it before you're ready. Absolutely. Where we will do just this, work on your mindset, work on the limiting beliefs, and get you breaking through your limits, right? I've done this in a group setting, and over the past couple of months, I've worked with people one-on-one, and I've actually loved working with people one-on-one because we get to dig deep. We get to really look at their individual needs. And so I've decided to just do this 7 weeks with people individually. So if you are interested, just shoot me a PM and I will send you what that would look like for us to work together. We'll chat about it. I don't have the full layout that I'm going to put here on the live stream. It's something that if you're ready, you're ready. If you're not, you're not. But essentially, if you're ready to upgrade your thinking, if you're ready to upgrade your business, ready to upgrade your money, ready to upgrade your relationships, whatever, and you find yourself in your way and you're like, I don't know if I can do this, and you keep stopping and going, and you don't know what's keeping you blocked or held up, that is exactly what we do in this program together. And I walk you through 7 weeks, through my process, and I'm there holding your hand along the way and getting you through to the other side of what it is that you want to create. Okay, so if you're interested, to send me a PM and we'll talk. And if you have questions, leave them in the comments and I will answer. Lots of love to you, Dafina. Thank you. I'm so glad. Yay! All right, I will talk to you all again soon. Have a fantastic day. Love y'all. Bye.